Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony Demakis, and I'm excited to talk with you today because we have somebody on that is really involved in the manufacturing space. And I love when people want to take initiative and get involved and do bigger things and really work to change the scope of the industry. And so it's exciting when we're able to do that. So we're going to get into that in a second. But before we do, I just want to take a quick second to thank everybody for watching this in advance and for continuing to support what we're doing. We want to keep telling stories of U.S. manufacturers and what that looks like and your successes and your failures and help each other grow and find new ways to do business and keep things moving here stateside. So Alliance is here to help you. We are mold makers that don't build molds. We do all the things that you as mold makers don't want to do. We do the polishing, the laser welding, the engraving, hot runner manifold repair, preventative mold maintenance. Those things that are a burden to you when you're trying to build molds, let us do it. Let us take it out of your hair. We have pickup and delivery. We're on the road all the time. You don't even have to worry about trying to get it to us. We'll come get it from you. So we want to be there to help you, to serve you in ways that you're not sure that there were people to do that. And we do it all under one roof. So if you need something that needs to be welded and then polished and then fit, we can do it all here, and it eliminates some cost for you for having it go from place to place, and all the responsibility falls on us to make sure it gets back to you. On top of that, we make and sell laser welding machines to all kinds of industries, whether that's production welding or welding for mold repair and tool repairs and things like that. So all of our equipment is made here in the United States in our Prairie Grove facility. And we have our standard systems. And if there's something that you need that maybe seems crazy or out of the box, that's the stuff that gets us excited. We want to try and do new things, and we want to find ways to make an impact for you and your life. So that's Alliance in a nutshell. That's why you should, I guess, care. And so, as always, the show is live. We do that so that we can answer questions on the fly. So if you're watching this and you have a question for us, there's something that you want to know, something that you don't want to wait and ask, just go ahead and put that in the comments, whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on LinkedIn, whether that's on YouTube, and we will answer that question as it comes up on the fly, and make sure that you are engaged with the conversation with us. So like we always say, this show is for you guys. It's for the people that are watching, to grow and learn and get something out of that. So that's it for our introduction. So I'm excited today. We've got somebody on from our friends over at the Pyramid Group, which is industrial. It's pyramid molding. Jaclyn Kolodziej is going to join us. I'm going to bring her in, and she can tell us a little bit about herself, because I always think that's more fun than rattling off somebody's intro and bio and everything else, because that's just reading. So let's bring her in. Jaclyn, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm good. Running around a little bit crazy. I mean, it's a Wednesday. So Wednesdays we have our production meeting in Prairie Grove to go over what we need to do for new machine builds and what's happening in the production welding and engraving departments and new technologies that we're developing. And that's in the morning on Wednesdays. And then luckily Mary Kate has everything set up here, and I just run up the stairs and ta-da, here we go.
Over here.
Yeah. So I know you are relatively new to industrial and the Pyramid Group, a year or so, right?
Yeah, a year and 4 months? Almost a year and a half. So I don't know if that's relatively new.
No, not new, but I think for mold making businesses and molding businesses, people are there for a long period of time generally. So I'm glad that you're there. I think it's going to be really good for the company. I love the team over there. We're fortunate to be able to work with you guys in a number of areas, and I think it's great that you are helping them get to that next level of recognition. Not that they weren't known before, but it's always nice when you can push them forward a little bit more. So tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into this space.
All right. Well, manufacturing was not my first career. I started in social services and was a therapeutic recreation specialist. And I call that my first career. So I'm in my second career now. I transitioned and started working in business development and marketing for a company about 5 years ago. And through that, working with a lot of clients that were in the manufacturing space led me more specific into manufacturing and marketing for manufacturers. So I'm here at Pyramid Molding Group, which is the parent company to Industrial Molds and Pyramid Plastics. So we're mold makers and molders, and I've gotten the opportunity to build out and be the first ever marketing department for this company. We're about 55 years old now, and so it's been a really great time. I'm starting from rebranding and adding additional name and building out that recognition, and the marketing platform has been just a really awesome experience, and I've been having a ton of fun.
Where'd it go? I forgot which button to hit. Sorry. But I think that's great. So I remember I was talking to Tim at, I think it was the molding conference or MDNM West. I think it was MDM West. It was right before COVID happened. And that's right around when you started, right? Right after COVID happened.
Yep. So I think the company and the leadership identified what else can we do to help bolster ourselves
Yep.
and keep our sales growing, or at least staying or growing. And
Yep.
so the idea was to bring in a marketing professional, and so I'm the lucky winner.
Yeah, like I said, when we were at MDNM West, I was talking with Tim, and he was talking about marketing and all the things that Alliance does, and he was like, "Can we share a marketing person?" And I said, "Listen, man, as much as I think that would be great, it's not going to work. I mean, it's a full-time committed job, and I think that's something that people don't realize, especially in our space. I think a lot of times mold makers and are a little bit behind the times when it comes to marketing. They're cutting edge when it comes to making tools, making parts, machinery, what they need, how to do that. But I think the marketing side of things is a little bit on the back end, and it's not what they're thinking about, because for the longest time, it was easy to get the work.
Right. Jobs would just come based on names and based on referrals and area,
Yep.
and things shifted. So, we weren't just an onshoring type of manufacturing.
Yep.
Offshoring became a big thing. Now we're, surging back in the other direction, but, you know, it, the time came where there needs to be more than just, name and reputation and referrals. So the digital world is here,
It
and
is.
we are no longer looking through the yellow pages to find a mold maker in our area.
Yeah, because with social media, I mean, social media, I think a lot of time gets a bad reputation because there's so much noise out there in the space. But social media is just a platform. It's not positive or negative. It depends on what you're putting on there and how people can use it. What social media becomes. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of businesses now in our space are starting to look at, where, tech companies and everything else have already done that. They've shown us the way. They've given us the path for some sort of success. And it's just a matter of the people in the marketing spaces to then be able to pick up those leads, those cues, and start developing with it.
Right. I mean, even if you think about the social media platform, so say Facebook.
Yep.
Facebook might not be appealing to our younger generation, our millennials, or Gen Z now.
I can't keep them straight anymore.
But they do appeal to the guys that work here
Yep.
and our generation that is employed.
Yep.
So using Facebook as a way for engagement, employee engagement and retention, you can reach people still and connect with them. You might be finding that one buyer who's scrolling through their social media on the weekend, and we're connected with them based on our demographics and hitting that right target. So there are, say putting ads and doing things on social media is not a useless cause in the mold making and molding space at all.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it depends on what the application of that social media is.
Hmm.
My father has a Facebook account just so he can scroll, and he scrolls all the time. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He's scrolling through stuff, and he'll see a video that catches his attention. And the next thing I know, he'll walk into the office and go, "Hey, watch this. What do you think?"
Right. Why aren't we doing this?
Yeah,
Or
why aren't
this
we
is
doing
neat.
this? We should buy this piece of equipment. Let's look into this. We should call this company. And it's ongoing. It's all the time. And I think you need different platforms based on what you're trying to do and who you're trying to market to.
Right.
For us, we typically work with LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, that's
And Twitter.
our
We barely use Twitter. I mean, we've had ongoing conversations with Twitter, and it's like, unless you're going to be there all the time, engaging in conversation, arguing with people on Twitter, I mean, that's kind of what that's for. But I think those other ones all have application. I haven't found a need for TikTok yet.
it's on the list though. It's coming.
Is it?
It is coming. It's in terms of like it recruitment and
Yeah.
attraction, and also you probably heard the 2030 buzz of the year, and that's when the millennials are shifting to be the major part of our workforce, and who's in our space running companies and doing the
Right.
things that we're all doing. They're on TikTok right now, and so how do you connect with them? It's either Instagram, TikTok. I don't even know what Snapchat.
I see Snapchat's the other one. I have not figured out the benefit of Snapchat.
And I haven't used them for my own personal entertainment, so I'm kind of weary of Snapchat and TikTok. But trends are, people are talking about it, and it's starting to trend in the direction that we're probably going to be on there sometime soon.
I know Nicole Walter at HM Manufacturing. She is starting to kill it with TikTok. She's getting
Yeah,
the guys
she
in the
is.
shop to TikTok and everything else. But I think she has a little bit more pull than I do. With her team, they're going to
Little
listen
bit.
to her a little bit more when it comes to doing a TikTok. It's
Right.
because we talked a little bit when you're making videos and taking pictures of people in the shop on a regular basis. At first, they don't love it.
No. So for the first couple of months, I was known as the girl with the camera.
Yep.
And so it took a while for me to help everybody understand who I was, why I was there, and why I'm taking pictures and videos all the time. There's a couple guys that I know I can't take pictures of their front sides while they're putting together a mold. So I respect that. There are other guys that are pretty awesome. I can now come up and put them on the spot and ask them for an on-camera interview. I promise them I can edit it. I started hooking up the lapel mics on them now.
Yep.
And so they're like, okay, what is this? I'm like, just go with it. And we can take a couple takes, whatever. But the type of video content that we've been coming up with organically has been really neat. And I love the best part is coming back to my office and editing the pieces because we have so much fun. And I put together a ton of videos in October, and I had a blooper reel that I started developing. And so that was the most fun, putting together, the guys just kind of getting goofy and awkward on camera and having a good time with making the most of it. So
it's one of those things where the more you do it, the more familiar, the more comfortable you become. And I think it's important because the guys at your shop, the guys at our shop, the girls at our shop, just the people in general, they have so much knowledge and so much to share that there's not an easy platform to be able to do that. And I think those are the things that make people want to work with you, is getting to know the people inside your building. In marketing, you can say whatever you want. I mean, unless somebody's going to do a deep dive and figure it out, unless if you can show real experience from people on the floor or get customer testimonials, that speaks volumes, because you can dirty marketing, I'll say, they lie about things, and they say that, we're the world's greatest X, Y, and Z. And you can say anything you want. Once you see it and you can experience the people that are behind the doors, that are behind the work that's going on, and you see them for who they really are, it makes an impact. It has a lingering result on the companies that are seeing that.
Right. Yeah, we can say anything, but the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And so once we put out, a piece that's not quality, you lose some fans that way. So I think what's really good and positive for me is I get to brag about my company. I get to brag about my coworkers and the quality of work we do, and everyone backs it up. So I've got an easy job in that regard.
Yeah, and we had somebody ask me one time about, how do you come up with content? And I told them the same thing you did just now. It's easy because I'm super excited and proud of everybody that works here. So it's not difficult to say, who should we talk to this week? Because everybody here on a daily basis is doing something that's worth talking about and showcasing, and putting out there. And, the other thing that people say is, are you afraid of somebody poaching your employees if you put them on camera? I'm not, because if you're treating people well, they're going to want to stick around. And if they don't, they should go.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started and I said, well, I want to talk about us. My job is to be the cheerleader and to brag and highlight all of the great things we're doing. And so initially it was like, well, you can't talk about that. You can't show this. You can't take a picture of this. And so I push back and say, well, why can't I? And give it time and let's work on these things. The biggest challenge is when it comes to content is maybe using our customers' names.
Sure.
Okay. So then how do you work around that? And how are you able to highlight an application for this really big customer without giving away who it is? And so that's the creative, that's when you have to get creative with it, but you can still highlight the amazing work that we're doing.
Yeah. A lot of times, Mary Kate has to ask the people in the shop, the leads, or even reach out to a customer and say, hey, we've got this picture. Do you mind if we use it? Just to get the buy-in on it. We've had it a couple times where it's my fault. I forgot to do that. And I created an ad and we run the ad and the customer calls and goes, you can't use that picture. You need to take it down. And I'm like, it's in a magazine. I can't.
Well, and you should say your response should be, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
How many touches are you getting from being able to use that customer's photo? Right. So, it's got its ups and its downs. I get proprietary stuff, but it's like, hey, we've done this ad and we've ran it, and let's see if it yields positive results for you too.
Yeah, and even that, we never had the issue of trying to use customer testimonials or putting customer names out there. I think it's a benefit, and if somebody wants to try and call them and take work away from us, if they're able to successfully do it, it means I wasn't doing my job. It means as a company, we're not serving people properly, because they shouldn't want to leave us. Yep.
And that's where, you got to back it up. So we're doing these things, we're bragging, we're promoting, we're marketing, and, I'm not afraid of somebody coming and trying to poach an employee or a potential customer.
Yep. Because you're doing what you say you're doing. You're backing it up. If you're not doing good work, that's fine. People should leave. People should find other options.
Absolutely.
And that's just what they should do. So what were you doing before you got into industrial? Because you have a lot of organizations that you're a part of. You had to be doing something in the space.
So I, prior to industrial, I was a general manager for another manufacturing company in the Rockford area. And prior to that, I was doing working for a marketing and business development company.
Okay.
here as well. And so doing, a ton of marketing for a ton of different industries, but a lot were in the manufacturing space. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love talking to people that get it and engage in organizations and want to continue to push. It's not so many people just sit there and they're like, well, I'm not getting much out of this. Well, what are you putting into it? What are you
right.
contributing to be able to get more stuff out of there? So I know you're the president of Women of Today's Manufacturing. So
Yeah.
tell me
Talk
a
about
bit
that.
about that organization.
So we go by WOTM,
Okay.
Women of Today's Manufacturing. We're a nonprofit organization. We've been around since 2003. And so our goal is to promote and support and advance career pathways for women in manufacturing.
Okay.
And we do that, and we meet our objective by a number of different things. We provide education and educational opportunities for men and women, but predominantly women in the manufacturing space. And then also, we raise money by having events to support our 2 scholarships. And so the Community Foundation of Northern Illinois manages our scholarships along with hundreds of other scholarships for the area. And so we raise money all year long and put them into these awesome scholarship funds that go to students who want to pursue careers in STEM, manufacturing. We sponsor area robotics teams, and try to make our impact that way. And then we network and we stay connected with manufacturers in the area, different partners there, other community organizations who are feeding into the manufacturing space.
Yeah.
The big push lately has been, workforce and how do you engage and continue growing the workforce for manufacturing. And with women too, women are a huge untapped resource, or not as heavily tapped of a resource as men
Yeah.
have been traditionally. So any type of support that we to can provide to move women into the space and continue bolstering our manufacturing is what we do and how we roll.
I think it's great. I mean, there's this is not, I hope it's not sexist. It changes the culture and the environment when you add more women. And I think in a positive way. So that's why I'm saying I hope this isn't sexist, but it does. It's just
Yeah.
reality. Women bring a different attitude to work than men do.
Right, perspective.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, there's so much to support. Like, female engineers have a different perspective because they have different life experiences than men.
Yeah.
So think about trying to work through and create a solution to something with more than one worldview and perspective.
Yeah.
The options grow
Yeah.
and things become better.
Yeah. I think now it's just hard to say that because not everybody, people get upset when you say that men and women have different perspectives on things a lot of times, and they do. It's just part of what life is. And I think it's awesome to try and bring in not just women, but in opening up the world of diversity to do more stuff and bring more people in, to have different experiences. We were at an AMBA event. It was the conference, the AMBA conference,
Mm-hmm.
and an African American gentleman stood up and he raised his hand. And he said, I look around the room. We should talk about diversity. I don't see a lot of people like me in this room.
Right.
And I know women feel the same way. And Troy, to his credit, said, you know what? You're right. We don't. You should join our board. And the guy was like, well, I don't want to join the board. I'm just stating something. And I saw him afterwards and I said, man, I loved your comment about, wanting to change the demographic of the room. But I also like that Troy invited you to do that. Now, the
Right.
question is, why did you say no? And, he was like, well, I'm just trying to state things. I don't necessarily want to do it. And I said to him, you can't complain about the current situation if you're not going to be part of the catalyst to make the change. So
Right.
if you want to see more people like you in the room, step into the room and invite people into the room. And I think you're doing that by being the president of that organization and doing those other things. You're not just standing in the shadows saying there needs to be a change. You're trying to be part of that change.
Right. And there's a lot to be said about younger people, especially women, seeing other women in the space.
Yeah.
It's like with our first female vice president, being an African American female, mixed female. She's able to show just by what she looks like that women can be in that space. The same holds true for manufacturing and us being in a space that's predominantly occupied by men. And that's why, like, I know you and I talked prior to the show, the importance of volunteering and
Yep.
and sacrificing some of your time after the 9 to 5.
Yep.
And so, with that gentleman at the conference, it's like, well, why aren't you stepping up then and coming up to the, sitting at the table?
Right.
And so it takes a lot of people to be able to etch out a little bit of extra time, maybe a week or a month to participate and become involved, become engaged, and intentionally set themselves into a place that can help and grow.
Right.
I don't know, and I don't know the whole situation of where you were and the conversation, but I know, at least from my perspective as a female, if you say, well, why don't you come join our board? Well, a lot of times my experience and some of my my female peers have said, well, and I say this, I've been invited in the room, but there hasn't been a space created at the table yet. And so we need to start pushing more boundaries and building that awareness so that not only can I come into the room and the space, but I can sit at the table and I can have a voice that is respected and heard.
Okay. And I guess it's me being naive. I haven't seen that for other women.
Well, and that's your challenge, right? So next time you see that situation, you need to step up and create the space for somebody who maybe doesn't have the opportunity to create it for themselves.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think everybody has that opportunity to do that in all situations. You invite somebody to come along that may not typically be invited to come along. And when you invite them to come along, you also introduce them to the people around you and give them that ability to, like you said, have a voice and come out of the shadows a little bit.
Yeah.
So I know that you also do a lot of, or have in the past done a lot of volunteer work along with your women in manufacturing and all the other stuff. How is that important to you, and do you think for the organization?
So for me, I guess I'm the type of person that likes to be connected. I also love knowledge and experience. And so it's important for me to know what my resources are around me, who they are, who the people are around me, who the movers and shakers are, who the decision makers are, so that I can learn, I can grow, I can evolve, develop, and engage. So like I love training opportunities. I love upskilling. And so there are these chances for me to go and learn something new. And the way that it motivates me and reinvigorates my brain and gets me thinking and just puts me on these different paths is what really empowers me to keep doing it, because it keeps me engaged and excited and moving forward, not staying stagnant.
Have you had an opportunity to get the team at Pyramid involved in volunteer projects outside of the 40 hours a week?
A little bit. So we are members of different organizations, and so some of the team sits on different boards. I know that our COO, Andy, is a part of the AMBA board.
Yep.
I don't know offhand about MAP. I know that we've got one of our engineering supervisors who sits on a committee for, I think, MAP or AMBA. I don't have it written down. And then we're also corporate sponsors for Women of Today's Manufacturing.
Yep.
We're super engaged in the high schools in our area.
Okay.
And anytime there's a career fair, a manufacturing expo, we're starting to be really engaged with those things and attend. So I'll bring, our quality manager out to run a table at a manufacturing expo, or our human resource person will go out to a career fair put on by one of the colleges in the area. Um, Myself, I'm kind of everywhere and try to be
Yeah.
out and about and be a face and a voice. So yeah, we're kind of all over the place.
No, it's good. And I know Ray Gibbler is part of our SPE Mold
Yep, that's
Technologies
me.
division.
Right.
So I appreciate him being on there. That's nice to see when we have our meetings once a month.
Yep.
Uh, and I think it's just good when you can do that and get other people from the company involved. So it's not just the ownership doing it. It's important to have everybody on your team feel like they can go and be a face for the organization and step into roles and areas that that they feel that they can contribute. Because it's not just and it does a couple things, right? It grows and it builds attention for the company,
Mhm.
but it also helps further our industry in big ways, and all of those things are important.
Right. So, with Manufacturing Month and other organizations like our Rockford Public Schools has specific career pathways, and they have a manufacturing pathway. And
Okay.
so, early on in the school year, we had gotten asked to do some videos to highlight some of our workers. So, a CNC operator, our shop foreman, and a couple others did these really nice and nicely produced videos that were free, because we didn't do them. It was just like a couple minutes of our time to get on camera. They're very beautifully produced, and then that was something we could use, forever.
Yep.
And so then we connected with one of the high schools that is doing, really getting involved in plastics, and they're even developing a plastics lab.
Oh,
And
nice.
so they came out, the students came out. Well, first we went to them. So we sent a representative out to them to talk a little bit about who we were and what we do. And then they were able to come and see us in person. So right there were two touch points for these
Yep.
students, these high school students, to understand what we do and what we manufacture. And then they came to our molding facility and took a tour, and they were super engaged. They loved every minute of it. They asked really great questions. After the fact, then they came to the manufacturing expo, and they saw us there with the table. So it's
Yep.
three touch points.
Yep.
And then from there, their teacher I saw at a WOTM event that night. And so he was just bragging. He loved it, super thrilled at the amount that the students learned and how they engaged. Then after the fact, we get an email, and the students created this like big bulletin board in their school that highlighted us as a company and what we did and their manufacturing day experiences. And so it was really cool to see it come like full circle. And now, who's to say that one of those students won't call us and want an internship or want to try working during the summertime, or whatever the case may be. Like, we've made an impression for
Yeah.
at least a classroom of students in our area, that they can also connect to their big project that they're
Right.
doing in school.
Well,
So
not
it's
only
really neat.
that, but even if they don't come to pyramid or industrial, they've been opened up to the world of what manufacturing looks like, and that it's not this dirty, gross, dingy place. All the potential that it leads to students that want a career path other than what high schools typically want to push.
Right.
And I think anytime you can do that and get involved in the schools, it's a good thing. WEPCO out in Connecticut is like, they're killing it with the junior high and the grade school and the high school and doing all those sorts of things. It's one of my personal to-dos is to get involved with the Wakanda High School and some of the schools around here and try and do more with that. But, life is busy.
Life is busy. So, I mean, one way to dedicate somebody that specifically does that,
Yeah,
doesn't have to be you, but
right.
it can be somebody that, if that's one of your goals, you can find a way to make it happen for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially now that, people are going to school and they're open and you can do all that stuff again. It's a good thing.
Yes, definitely. It's nice to be out seeing people and interacting. Now we're in this weird limbo where it's like, can I hug you? Can I not? What are we shaking hands?
Listen, if you see me, my arms are outstretched. Like, bring it in. I am welcoming. Just bring it in. It's all good. I think it's cool, the stuff that you were just saying about the schools. I think it all ties into marketing and the purposes of marketing. I know that you and I were talking a little bit about the idea of ROI when it comes to marketing. And so many business owners, that's what they look at first because that's how they grow their business, right? I mean, if it doesn't make sense to buy a machine because the ROI is not going to be there, then let's not buy the machine. And I think marketing is a totally different beast. It's not a piece of equipment.
Right. And it kind of, if you think about it this way, for a long time, um, business owners would think about workforce as an expense. And
Sure.
workforce is an expensive thing. But if you switch that frame of thinking and start looking at your employees as assets,
Mm.
the same way that you might put, a number on a machine and how much that's valued as an asset, I think then you have a better time comprehending and not necessarily needing a dollar amount for an ROI.
Sure.
So if you're paying, depending on what your marketing budget is and how much you're paying people to do marketing and what
Right.
those expenses are, you have to figure out what makes sense for you, as the owner, right? Maybe it's not a dollar amount, but maybe it's uh, an impact
Sure.
amount,
Yep.
and put a value on a success metric versus a dollar.
And I think that's difficult because you have to figure out what that timeline is going to be too, right? It can't be in this next year. What is this ad going to do? Or what is this video going to do? Because, I mean, we know in this market space, it's not B2C, it's B2B. And so people are not going to act until they need it. For us,
Right.
People are not doing their research on which polishing company are they going to use next. They're really happy with whoever they use, whether that's us, whether that's Ultra, whether that's, Deal, whoever that is. They're happy, or even in-house. They're really happy with who they're using until one of those companies either messes up too many times or they can't get their work done. And
Right.
so in that moment, you need to know who to go to. And so you can't say this piece that we just did is going to make us, have 20% increase on our polishing jobs, because you don't know that. You don't know what somebody's going to need. And it has to go hand in hand with the sales team. I think sometimes people look at sales and marketing as one thing, and they're related. They're like cousins. You need each other. The
Right.
sales, to me, your sales team is your living, breathing marketing. And your marketing is telling the story of what the sales team is doing, and they have to work well together.
Right. Well, and not only just telling the story, but creating the resources, doing,
Yep.
like I do a lot of the providing the tools and the research, and building the case of why this lead generation thing should, why we should try it, and why we should run ads, and why we should just do whatever I want to do, why we should go to this trade show. And I can't ever say right off the bat, yes, if we go to this trade show, we will get 3 customers and we will make $1 million off those 3 customers. Like, it's just not quantifiable.
Right.
And I think for most people in this industry and a lot of different industries, there's not a ton of data that's been collected prior to really be able to say, yes, this is, this is our sales cycle time frame. Here's our seasonality. Here are the successes we've had at all of our trade shows, and they've valued, us at X amount of sales. And so if we keep doing this, it's going to continue to, yield X amount of profit. It doesn't work like that because things change, people change, industries change. We get pandemics and supply chain issues.
Totally.
And it's a matter of practicing and honing and developing and trying for a decent period of time, right? And just finding a good sweet spot, but while staying in your sweet spot, always looking forward to what's next and what we should be projecting into.
Yep. And I think what I've noticed from our efforts in marketing, whether that's social media or ads or podcasts or whatever, is when we do meet somebody face to face, they already have an idea of who we are. So we've built a reputation before they've even met us. And so when they do, it's like we're friends already because they know what to expect. And that can't just be a business side of things. My opinion is that's your sales team have to be out there doing the same thing. They have to be willing to put themselves out there and let them be a face of your business and build a personal brand with what they're doing. Because really, when you meet somebody for the first time and they already know because they've seen your Instagram posts or your LinkedIn posts or whatever, they have a trust and a familiarity with you. And I think that's what businesses want. That's the ROI that we can look at is what is the trust factor going into that first, sit down meeting? What's the trust factor going into that first time that you met somebody at a trade show and they know you from the reputation that you've built online or through ads or whatever that looks like.
Right.
It sets you apart.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was walking a Marimold and the national booth saw my shirt and said, "Hey, you guys are from Pyramid?" Like, yeah. Whoever's doing your marketing is rocking. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that's me. Thank you so much. And they just hired their first marketing person and she was there. So we connected right away. I said, call me, email me, let's talk. She's fresh and green. I said, anything you need, let's talk. And so being able to have those connections and build that brand and those resources and your peer group and mentor too is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it's something that's going to be taking off more and more. And, I think what that does is, so National may be a competitor of yours in some regards. And then I always say, but, right? Like it's always about the big but.
Right.
They may be a competitor, but they may need overflow work done somewhere. And so if you reach out to the marketing girl there and you say, listen, whatever you need, like you did, I'm happy to help. Let me be a resource to you. Call me if you need anything. You've built trust and that job hasn't even come yet. But if they get a backflow issue or a back order or they can't get something out, now she says, hey, have we ever worked with industrial? I know they've helped me out in the past. I'm sure they'd be happy to do it. Let me make a phone call. And it doesn't cost you anything to be kind and and help somebody out and have a conversation. So it's the unseen, unknown things, I think, that make a difference in businesses.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think as we're talking, it's like, okay, what are all the positives, these things that, marketing creates for a company. So it's like right now, marketing, there's a big push for employee and potential employee attraction. One, being the face, being a resource for your sales team. If you're a company that's looking to sell, the fact that you look good as a company gives you some extra points to be able to want to be acquired if that's your goal. That's not our goal here, but that's definitely an advantage.
It's a trend. It's a growing trend where people are selling their businesses right now, though. So
every time I look through plastics news, I'm like, holy crap, this company's getting acquired and this one and that one. I'm like, okay, I'm never going to keep up, but
Yeah.
certainly try. But yeah, it's easier, even with banks, right? If you want money, you need to have your stuff together as a company. And so if this bank is looking at your website and it's garbage, what are they going to think immediately in the first 3 seconds? Like,
Yep.
I don't know if we want to take this risk, but yeah, us as marketers, we've got our finger on the what trigger, or I guess at least we have a pulse,
Yeah.
measuring the pulse of what's going on and how to continue really, really doing solid things for our organizations.
And and it's and it's easy and it's fun. I mean, it's not difficult stuff. I mean, it is. Marketing is a very difficult thing to do it right, but it's fun, and it lets people see a different perspective of your company. I know that we've been able to hire people from our Facebook account, where somebody that works in the company will post pictures from our Halloween party or stuff that we have going on, and then their friends will say, "That looks like an awesome place to work," and she'll say, "Well, we're actually hiring," and we've gained employees from that, just from being transparent about what we have going on.
Right.
Richard, our good friend Richard Evans, says he totally agrees with us, which means we must be saying something true.
Oh my
A
goodness. And we
Marimold,
have viewers.
yes, I don't know how many, but we'll see.
Yeah.
He says a Marimold was a great chance to meet all the people I've connected with on LinkedIn over the last year and a half. Amazing how you feel like you already know the person, even though it's the first face-to-face meeting. Also, a big part of ROI on the trade shows is getting to hang out with great people in the industry. 100% agree with him. I mean, that's the beauty part of it. That's the part that's been missing for the last year and a half.
Right. I think it's important to come together with your peers, whether they're your competitors or not, and talk. You know,
Yep.
that's the one of the ways that you're going to continue building your industry.
Yep.
And if everyone's siloed and no one's talking about newest technologies and advancements, then we're going to stay way behind. And that
Yep.
would be a big disadvantage for mold making and molding and any industry for that matter.
Of course. Of course. And I think that's what's so great. That's what I've appreciated so much about um, this industry in the last 5 years that I've been part of it, is that whether it's the AMBA or the TMA or the SPE or, put together whatever acronyms you want to, people are very open to share successes, struggles, and what's working, what's not working, how to get past certain hurdles. They're not so worried about keeping everything close to their vest and me, 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 me.
Mhm.
It's a lot of how do we get better? How do we succeed as an overall industry, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, definitely. And that too, like the same concept goes with all of our community organizations. I know we talked about involvement and knowing, what the left hand is doing to the right hand, and how we're all working to have specific goals, how those all tie together is
Yeah.
so important for us to make progress.
Right.
And so no progress is going to be made if we're all trying to do some version of something on our own.
I agree. So we're getting close to the end here. We always end the show with prayers, because the show, when Hillary and I started talking about it, the whole idea of doing this at lunchtime was to bring positivity into people's life, when we were surrounded with all the doom and gloom and negativity of everything. And so if you are watching and you have any prayer requests, put them in the chat. Jaclyn, do you have any prayer requests?
Oh my God. Probably too many to put in one chat. No, I think I just instead of a prayer, just kind of being, showing gratitude for people. So
Yeah.
for you for having me on your podcast, for any of the viewers, gratitude for my network and my people who are with me every day supporting me. So
I think that is one of the most important topics, and you can go on and on for that one. by itself. And I am not surprised that you bring up gratitude, because you are a leader in a lot of different ways. And I mean, you've seen that, right? The 40 leaders under 40, experience in leadership, all kinds of stuff. And that's why you understand gratitude. So I'm gonna, Mary Kate, did you have any prayer requests there? Your brother's wedding on Friday. Yeah, I see that. Okay. You know, I got to remember to leave my phone on all the time for the messages that you send me. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today and this opportunity to talk with Jaclyn. We pray that you would continue to remind us to have gratitude in all situations, whether it's the people that you put in our lives, the opportunities that we have before us, the struggles in our life and our situations. Help us to find joy in those, knowing that it's an opportunity for us to learn and get better and serve you and serve people from that. I pray for people that are going through health struggles and not knowing where to turn, and they may feel scared or depressed or lonely, that they would feel your presence. I pray for my brother as he had some news at the dentist today that it's not just a filling, that he would get good news, and that all would be okay. And we just pray for all the people that are struggling right now, no matter what that situation. You know what it is, and we pray that your will would be done. And we pray for Mary Kate's brother and his wedding on Friday, that it would be blessed by you, and that you would have blessings on everybody that's there, and it would bring you glory. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Jaclyn, thank you.
I did it.
We talked about this for like a year. This is like a year in the making. So
yes.
Hopefully it wasn't too awful.
No, it was great. I loved it.
And maybe we could do it again. I'd love to do it with some of the leadership team over there, and maybe we could do like a little round table kind of thing, and do something like that. Or maybe, I'd be happy to help you with one of the women's organizations, and we can get more people on there and talk about that. I love doing these kinds of things and networking. We have all the equipment. We might as well do it.
Right.
But if you need any help when you're trying to set up this kind of platform, please let me know. And we'll be happy to help. But thank you for all that you're doing in the organization, the attention that you're bringing to different things, getting women involved, reaching out to the schools, bringing in new fresh blood, and helping everything. So you're having an impact. You're being a difference maker. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I can definitely rattle off maybe 20 individuals or organizations that should be on your show. So we'll talk later.
Sounds good. Have an awesome day, and enjoy the rest of your week, and have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. That was Jaclyn from Industrial Molds and from Pyramid Group. They do an awesome job. We're happy to work with them every chance we can. They're here in the Rockford area. So if you have any projects that may be coming up that you would like somebody to look into, I'm sure that they are ready, willing, and able to take on projects. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. On behalf of myself and Alliance and Jaclyn and her organizations, thank you for watching. Take care, and God bless.